I think it's just so nice, like, to hear, you know, how someone started weaving.
Yeah, it was a dying art in the 1940s, eh? And in the North Island, I believe it was Diggitakanawa, and in the South, a lady called Beattie. Were the two women who did an outreach on the thing.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be taught by Beattie's eldest daughter, Yvonne.
That's awesome that your dad was weaving separately, separately.
Exactly, and if you ever go to Papa, they may or may not have something like that on display. And he liked the engineering challenge of working out how to do it. So high heel boots was warehouse bags, of course, and other plastic bags, split longitudinally, roll them up, and they're firm enough. Cool. But it's weird because you know how when you're weaving, you're tending to try and get everything as tight as you can, tension-wise. Whereas, of course, with plastic, you've got alter tension, no tension, and then tension. It's that hat start.
I have never done that.
Oh, you start at the brim, go up and crown over, but you have to be able to
Where do you start?
hold.
Here, somewhere down the bottom.
Start here, sort of here.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me bring in the pine needles.
Wouldn't they? Right.
So I brought it in, made
like
it.
That.
Yeah.
And you were fine.
And that was fine.
Isn't that funny? They just assume now it's a product.
They assumed I probably bought it at a market or something, that I didn't gather the pine needles and make it myself. You know?
Oh my God, that's so cool looking.
Yeah. Museum Gardens in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Wow.
Where they have these ponderosa pines, which have, foot-long needles, great big long needles, which make it a lot easier. The name suggests, of course, coil work.
Have you learned from a lot of people? Do people show you stuff, or do you just look at that yourself?
You meet other weavers and you talk and you share.
Where's this one from?
Cedar bark from Vancouver.
Oh my gosh. Wild.
Isn't it cool? And these ones were Indian weave from Farmington, from the north of New Mexico.
Oh my God.
Where they've actually used single pine needles. Would you look at that?
Oh my.
Apparently women are more dexterous. Oh, true.
Tara Indian sort of.
From Central America.
Oh wow.
Has it got a country on it? Is it Mexico or Honduras or something?
Oh yeah, Mexico.
Mexico, yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff comes up from Mexico, of course, into the southern states for sale. That was a gift from my eldest girl.
Wow, that's so cool.
And that one's Brunei. I had a week there with Joe on the way back from Thailand one time, which was really cool. It was the week, the month after Ramadan. Those terrible colonial poms. Parents immigrated from England when I was 3 years old. Came out on Rangitoto.
Yeah.
In 1955, took the first outboard motors to Pitcairns Island. Came down, through the Atlantic, through Panama Canal, which was relatively new in those days.
And you were 3?
And I was about 3-ish. Yeah, and I can remember looking through, the forest of adult legs and seeing a pew-pew, a grass skirt, or, their equivalent of a pew-pew, and a yummy banana, a real yummy banana. So, the boat dropped off the outboard motors there, and we came on to New Zealand. The whole thing took, 6-8 weeks on a big boat with thousands of people, like being on a cruise ship, I suppose. I'd never tried to go to the biannual weaving hui's that they have around the maraes or anything like that. I could have gone with my dad and, trodden on his mana there and been told it on his coattails, as it were, but I chose not to. I just like to stand and fall on my own merits. The thing I find amazingly satisfying is the story of getting Lorraine through her first kit. And so here's me, one of the Pommy invaders, able to give her back, help her through her heritage. Makes up for colonialism a tiny bit. We've got the hat that Mum made me years ago.
So your mum wove as well?
Not much, no. She was good at what she did.
Same kind of crazy. That looks like a waistband, like a
Did you make that one, the coconut one?
No, Benk and Mike went to, my oldest girl and her husband went to Hawaii for a conference, and she sent me coconut. Walking through the Aotea Centre in Auckland, and there's this beautiful, low-growing, wide-leafed, kind of variegated apricot-y, rather beautiful, decorative flax, incredibly heavily in seed. So I bought back 2 supermarket bags full of seed. Wow. Of course, really nice that was my favourite backpack flax. That was a really good kit flax that's getting overgrown under the... And this one you can see has got a little bit more of a hip to it. It's slower growing, but is beautiful, really nice dark red.
Yeah.
Because they're still fairly young bushes. And so I got a woofer to dig it out and spread it up and plant it. I met the Katajuta early on when I first, came to the coast. So I knew the people that lived here, and I spent 20 years renovating the place in Punakaiki, going, I'm going to live up there one day. Spent a week bunking in Billy's loft and cleared Spar's benching, and then threw up the tent this night, because bit of a clearing, vaguely level. Threw up the tent, crawled in exhausted, and when I woke up in the morning, that moment before you open your eyes as you're coming awake, and I was just, cupped in Papatūānuku's hand, and just had this wonderful feeling that Papatūānuku had accepted me. I did 3 years in my little canvas cabin. Boxing Day 1997, the ridge beam went up. It was great because the family, Debs and all the kids were here and stuff, so that went up, and then it was about a week to put the roof on, and I got a hand with getting the corrie on. There's differences of opinion that have to be worked through, and everyone needs to be patient, diplomatic, and what's the word I'm looking for? Operate in a spirit of good faith. And because we all care about it. We're kaitiaki here, do the predator control and watch the bush grow, from gorse to beautiful regen. Because it's fairly steep country, it's rugged, it's unforgiving, it's heavy clay for gardening. It's, there's a lot of downside, and of course being right out on the edge of civilization, the local towns are, how shall I put this nicely, limited. So, funny, you can live right out on the edge in the wilderness, turn the radio off, not know what's happening in the rest of the world, and yet turn the radio on and you can be in touch, Radio New Zealand! A philosopher and a geneticist were friends, right? And this is sort of two-sided story thing. And they came up with the idea of memes. You know what they are? Yep. And so memes like genes seek to survive and replicate. And that is another thing, they say they dated it back to the 1600s, but others believe that it goes right back into the Sanskrit translations from some of the Vedas way back, and changing over time. So it's a pretty old meme that's surviving and coming round and round and again, and is needed now, because that's it. You just try and be on good terms with everyone, don't you?